Hello and welcome to this video on managing your startup programs in Windows 7. Now the reason this is so important is that any program that's running on your computer is using system resources, both memory, processor time, and if the more programs you have running, the slower your computer is going to run to the point where it could actually stop or freeze up or just make these programs run so slow that it seems like your computer isn't doing anything. So let's get started by bringing up the system configuration utility. And the way you do that is click on the Start button, and then we're going to type in the search box config.sys. And that's going to bring up this suggestion, which we're going to click on, the system configuration. This now brings up a screen where you can manage every program that starts up on your computer. Next, we'll select the Startup tab. Click on that. And this will show you everything that's starting up when Windows starts. You can scroll down and see that there's a lot of things running on this computer. Now, unfortunately, Windows doesn't let you resize this screen, so it's difficult to see some of the things in here, but you can see them by expanding the columns. This is important because sometimes you'll have two things that are named the same thing, like Logitech Incorporated right here. And if you want to see if they're really the same, you can move over and stretch this out, and you can see that they're really not. One of them, this is where the likeness stops, so you can see that they're two different things. But other programs, sometimes it might load two things of the same thing, and you can certainly stop one of them because you don't need two of the same thing running at one time. Some of these things are things you need to keep your computer running comfortably. I mean, they're not absolutely necessary. Windows makes this so that you can remove them all if you want to. In this, you can disable all by clicking on this button, and the computer will still run. It just might not run the way you'd like it to. For example, if I remove this scroll app from my computer, that's the scrolling function from my Logitech mouse. So if I remove that, Windows is going to load in something generic, and it might not scroll as well as I would like it to. So you can experiment with these. You can take them all out if you want, and you can see how blistering fast your computer will start up, and then you could go back and add them one at a time later according to what you need and achieve a balance between startup speed, running speed, and convenience of what you have loaded in here. Now if you scroll down, you can look and see which of these programs are checked and which ones aren't checked. And if you've never done this before, they're probably all checked, and you've probably got tons of things that are starting up and that may not be necessary. And when I said before that you can remove them, I didn't mean remove. I mean you can uncheck them and turn them off so they don't start up, but they remain here. So if you decide that you want this to start up in the future, you can just go back in here and recheck it, and everything goes back to the same. One thing I would suggest when you're doing this is before you uncheck anything, go in and maybe make a screenshot of this or write down the ones that are checked and unchecked, or at least the ones that are unchecked, so you know where you were when you started, so you can put it back that way if you end up unchecking things and you don't like how it turns out. There are a couple of ways to go about doing this. As I mentioned before, you can disable everything, then restart your computer and see how it runs. And if you come across something that doesn't run right or takes too long to start up, you can always come back in here and recheck whatever is necessary to run that program. The other way is you can leave everything the way it is and uncheck things one or two at a time, restart your computer, see how it runs, and if you like it, then try a couple more of them. And before you uncheck anything, if you want to know what it does, you can go in and Google the names of these programs. For example, if I wanted to know what this was, I could type in schedulehelp.exe in a Google search, and it will tell me what that program is for. Of all the tools for speeding up your computer, this is probably the most effective one because most of the time the slowness of a computer is caused by way too many programs running in memory at one time. If you want more information about this, you can check out my Computer Essentials course, which will go into this subject in much more depth, as well as talking about some of these other tabs and how to manage those. For now though, just the things that are explained in this video will make a tremendous difference in your computer speed. Finally, when you're done making any changes, be sure and click Apply, and then click OK to leave the program. And just a couple of reminders. Be sure to click on Apply before you leave the previous screen or your changes will not be saved. And also remember that any changes you make will not become effective until after you restart your computer. So you'll need to do that if you want to see what kind of effect these changes have on performance. So that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.